Okay, G. So, considering those major components of performance appraisal forms, as we have discussed in our last portion, I would like to give you an example that has been shown in your book. You can also go there and you can also see that. But having said that, if we can see in this form, you can see that they have shown employee performance appraisal. It includes, first of all, the employee names, department, date of hire, and date of performance review. Then, as far as the accountabilities are concerned, accountabilities and standards and all this stuff, objectives and standards were concerned, they have not included here, but the competencies needed for the position are listed, and behavioral indicators are also mentioned here. As you can see that they have included flexibility, teamwork, oral communication, written communication, initiative, decision making, knowledge, job knowledge, quality work, productivity. So all these points, all these behavioral points are been mentioned here, and the Likert scale has also been mentioned, so that we can review it properly. Now, in the next stage, as you can say that there are levels of performance and description of performance, and there is an increase. Like they have mentioned certain points, like if there is the unsatisfactory level of performance, so they have rated it as 0 to 15 points, and if there is a need in improvement, so they have included 16 to 31 points, and if it fulfills responsibilities, the points are 32 to 37. It exceeds responsibilities, the points are 38 to 48, and far exceed responsibilities, then the points are 49 to 55 points. Also, in the next column, if you can see that they have also described the level of performance. For example, if you can see that there is unsatisfactory, that is 0 to 15 points. So what is basically the description of that employee? It means that that employee did not meet the responsibilities associated with the position, place on personal improvement performance plan. So the main focus of that employee was personal improvement, that was not aligned with the organizational goals. Then if someone needs improvement, it means that they met main responsibilities but did not fulfill all responsibilities, and he or she is inconsistent level of performance across tasks. So this is basically the description, and this is basically the increase in an other column. Then if we can see that there are employees' strength and areas of expertise, then there are some developmental areas, then there are goals for upcoming year in relation to job responsibilities and developmental areas, then there are employee comments, and then there is a signature portion of employee interviewer, and the date is also mentioned here. So this was basically the what you can say that an example of the performance appraisal, in which most of the components that we have discussed are mentioned here. Now let's come to the performance appraisals, which has basically 8 desirable features. Now the very first one is basically the simplicity, then there is relevancy, then there is descriptiveness and adaptability. Now while talking about the simplicity, here the forms must be easy to understand, easy to administer, quick to complete, clear and concise. The simplicity should be in the forms, because if forms are too long, or if they are too much complicated, it is likely that the performance assessment process will not be effective. Then there comes relevancy. Good forms includes information related directly to the tasks and responsibilities of the job. Otherwise, they will be regarded as an administrative burden and not as a tool for performance improvement. Then there comes descriptiveness. Now, good forms require that the raters provide evidence of performance regardless of the performance level. The form should be sufficiently descriptive that an outside party, for example, supervisor or HR department, has a clear understanding of the performance information conveyed. Then there comes adaptability. It basically allows managers in different functions and departments to adapt them to their particular needs and situations, and this feature encourages widespread use of the form. If we talk about the other feature, so it comes comprehensiveness, then definitional clarity, and communication and time orientation. So while talking about the comprehensiveness, it includes all the major areas of performance for a particular position for the entire review period. While talking about the definitional clarity, desirable competencies and results are clearly defined for all raters so that everyone evaluates the same attributes. And this feature also enhances consistency of ratings across raters and levels of the organization. While talking about communication, the meaning of each of the components of the form must be successfully communicated to all people participating in the evaluation process, and this also enhances acceptance of the system and motivation to participate in it both as raters and ratees. And as far as the time orientation is concerned, good forms help clarify expectations about the performance. They address not only the past but also the future. So these are basically the 8 desirable features for the performance appraisal. It also includes, it also concludes the features that are desirable in all forms of specific content and format, because if we consider the 2 illustrative forms discussed earlier to see how they fare in relation to these desirable features. Firstly, if we see that if we have seen the components, those components were simple because it is easy to understand and clear, and the fact that it includes an easy format implies that it will take a little more time to complete, but the number of essays is kept to a minimum. And the form is also relevant, but only if the supervisor enters a correct job description and actual accountabilities. And this form can be extremely descriptive owing to its narrative nature, and it also encourages the manager to give examples of relevant behavior. And next, the form is also adaptable, perhaps too adaptable. It would be hard to compare performance across employees because the manager can adapt the form to each employee. This form is comprehensive, but again only if the manager lists all of the expected accountabilities, and this form does not have definitional clarity because the competencies listed are not clearly defined. Ratings are likely to be inconsistent across raters. Next, this form can be communicated across the organization. Manager acceptance may be hard to gain, however, because of the amount of detail required by the essay answers. Finally, the form is time oriented. It asks for past and future performance expectations and goals. In short, the following table basically summarizes which of the desirable characteristics are present in the form. So if we see the form that we have discussed in the start of this lesson, in this part, so it includes simplicity, relevancy, descriptiveness, adaptability, comprehensiveness, communication, and time oriented. So these were basically the desirable features, but actually, as we can see the form, there was only simplicity, and there was the adaptability. So these were basically the two things.